giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live. We are streaming live on YouTube, and of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! What's happening, people? Welcome in on this Monday morning show. No Cowboys game this weekend. Felt real good to sit back and chill. But we did not get the best news to end last week. So we're going to talk about how the Cowboys can navigate without having Micah Parsons and Demarcus Lawrence. We'll get an update on that timeline. We'll take a look at the current depth, and we'll look at some possible options out there. In-house, out-house, and what Mike Zimmer can do. Also, we're going to go around the league in the roundup because the NFL is getting real interesting. Really, really interesting in these streets, man. And like I said, when the Cowboys don't play during the weekend, I should say, it feels good to sit back and kind of be able to watch all the other teams. For me, it's really hard to do that on game day because I'm usually prepping for the pregame show. I'm setting up somewhere. I can only really half watch. So, I have to go back after the game and rewatch highlights or something like that. But being able to sit back and just watch some of these games and see what some of these teams are doing, really interesting out there in these NFL streets, man. We're going to talk about that in the roundup. But what's good with your Bomb Squad?
Bomb Squad!
Hope everybody had a good weekend, a chill weekend, a fun weekend. Any weekend when the Eagles lose is great. We'll talk about that in a second. Cowboys gotta look. None of these games are going to be easy. A lot of these games are obviously winnable, but they got one coming up here, and we'll get into that in the middle of the week. These first two shows this week, I kind of want to focus on us. I got some things lined up for you guys, but we'll turn the page. We'll turn the page around Wednesday and start talking about the Steelers. But let's hit this roundup real quick. Go around the league and see how interesting this here NFL is getting. I love it.
It's time! It's time! It's time!
It's time. It's time.
It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Let me talk to you.
Let me talk to you. Again, no Cowboys on, no stress. Kick my feet back. Turn the channels to all these games and whatnot. Hard to ignore what they're doing in Washington on offense, ain't it? Real hard to ignore that. Whew. Jaden Daniels in this Washington offense continues to be on fire after whooping on the Arizona Cardinals on the road, putting up 42 points. So through the first 4 games, Jaden Daniels led offense. Cliff Kingsbury, offensive coordinator, who, I ain't gonna lie to you, they hired Cliff. I'm like, Cliff Kingsbury. They have one of the most efficient offenses in NFL history in the first 4 weeks. Jaden Daniels has an 82% completion rate, which is an NFL record in the first 4 weeks. Look, man, you can try to poo-poo the competition. You can do whatever you want to do. This is impressive. This is impressive. It's fun. The kid is dynamic. The offense is fun to watch. Eventually, they'll run into some issues. That's just the way it happens. But I can't sit here and deny it as an NFL fan. It is really cool to see this kid come in there and be dynamic. Now, as a Cowboy fan, you hate to see it. But I think Cliff has done a great job kind of marrying some of these college concepts that are making Jaden Daniels comfortable. But even in the run game is impressive. When you look at some of the things they do in the run game, their entire backfield is averaging almost 5 yards per carry. That's not a fluke. There's something to that. So we'll have our hands full when the Cowboys run into that offense. It'll be interesting to see. Their defense is still suspect. They played well yesterday. Still, in my opinion, though, it's still a suspect defense. But, man, Washington fans, you got something to be excited about. Can't even be mad at it. Got something to be excited about. Last night, the Ravens trounced the Bills behind Derrick Henry's almost 200 rushing yards. Man, look, man. He looks anything but washed. When you take the first carry, 87 yards, 250-pound Derrick Henry, 87 yards to the crib. We've seen him do it before, but it always amazes me when a guy of his size can outrun an entire defense. 250 pounds. Nobody can chase this locomotive down. So impressive, man. He's still Derrick Henry. You know, he's still Derrick Henry, and the Ravens know how to use him. And the scary thing about him is that, you know, he might get 2, 3, 4 here, but a dude his size is not supposed to rip off 80-plus yarders like that. It's just not supposed to happen. So, Buffalo, welcome to the Derrick Henry show. We faced it the other day. You guys had a chance to face it last night. Now, they had a shot now. Buffalo had a shot to get back in the game. I don't know what Joe Brady was calling there on that kind of fake reverse or what have you, but they had their chances. But Baltimore is looking like they're back, and they're going to be a tough out moving forward. They got their mojo back. Minnesota improves to 4-0 and looks like a really damn good complete team. I don't think this is a fluke either. We're going to see, but I don't think it's a fluke. Kevin O'Connell, man, he's got Sam Darnold looking like Joe Montana. And Brian Flores. I mean, it's not like that defense is littered with all pros over there. Brian Flores for now, 3 consecutive weeks, although the Packers did storm back, but the game was at one point, 28-0? It's 3 consecutive weeks. He's made things really weird on Shanahan Tree Disciples. Just saying. Now, it does probably help that they play a scheme on the other side of the ball that does some similar things, or practice against it, I should say, week in, week out. But Flores is showing, look, if y'all don't want to give me no head coach job again, then damn it, I should be one of the top paid defensive coordinators. O'Connell and Flores, round of applause for you guys. Got them Vikings playing really well, 4-0. The Philadelphia Eagles. Look, first of all, if you're coming on here to tell me about injury, I don't care. Better yet,
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you
We don't care.
we don't care. We don't get sympathy. You're not getting any sympathy. None. He could have been out there playing with the high school receivers. I don't care, Jalen Hurts. You lead the league in turnovers in the last season in 4 games. You thought when Kellen Moore came over that everything was going to be fixed, didn't you? Yeah, I'm going to keep calling out Kellen Moore. All you Kellen Moore disciples and stands can go to hell. I care less how you feel about Kellen Moore. It's Kellen Moore. So it's just so it's beautiful to watch the Eagles lose in that manner. And they probably feel the same way about the Cowboys. So I don't have no sympathy for them. At the end of the day, them. I said this last year. It comes to a point where you just expect the turnover now for Jalen. We lived that for one season. One season in 2022, it was like, hey, man, that Dak turnover is coming. One way or other, it's coming. Now, granted, they went to the playoffs 12-5, won a playoff game and everything, but you knew it was coming. because of the way it was going. I said this last year, and it feels the same way the following season. You just know Jalen Hurts is finna turn this ball over at least 2 times. Yep. Beautiful thing to see. Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, Sky, what about the Cowboys? Yeah. We didn't play Sunday. So allow me to enjoy this. They fall to 2-2, and due to, I don't know, points, tiebreakers, whatever, they are third in the division right now. I still believe they're favored to win the division, but this division is really strange. Washington is looking really good right now offensively. They're leading the division at 3-1. I still don't think the Cowboys are out of it just yet, even though we're in for some very interesting times defensively. But we'll see. We'll see where this thing is at around week 10. That's where things will get very, very interesting. But that's around the league. What else happened around the league? The other Wonder Boy, golden child, that is Trevor Lawrence, has now lost 8 games in a row. Or 9 games in a row, I'm sorry. I don't think they're going to be leading headlines, but maybe they should be. Because if that was anybody else, we know exactly what they'd be saying. But the Jaguars, I wonder if you can go hit them up and see if they'd be interested in some type of fire sale. The Cowboys aren't going to be buyers. They normally aren't buyers, but you know how I feel. I'm always trying to improve my team unless I'm quite literally the Jaguars or the Panthers or something like that. I'm trying to get better, so I hit them up, but that's just me. The Bengals narrowly escaped the Panthers, 34-24. Patriots get whooped by the 49ers. The Browns basically choked that game away against the Raiders. They probably should have won. The Chiefs, you talk about championship mettle and resilience. 17-10, they are just dropping like flies, and Patrick Mahomes taking out his number 1 wide receiver. He has to be feeling sick to his stomach. Rashee Rice looks like he's going to be out for the season. Looks like an ACL. Hollywood Brown didn't get a chance to play at all. He's likely at season-ending surgery. Isaiah Pacheco is out for I think they said 8 weeks. So they are just trying to figure things out. And they are 4-0. They've given themselves some leeway. But, man, it's looking like last year where trying to figure out this offense, knowing that they don't have all the horses around Pat. But as great as Pat is, I say this all the time, they still need help. So we'll see if they sit on their hands at wide receiver. I highly doubt it. The Bears come back against the Rams, and they're now 2-2, 24-18. Falcons get the last-second field goal to take the lead and win the game against the Saints, 26-24. And then the Steelers try to claw back. They fought back, lose 27-24. Justin Fields had 400 total yards. It's going to be really interesting studying his tape this week in that Steelers offense. And maybe the weirdest game of the weekend, the Jets lose to the Broncos 9-10. What? I mean, look. Vance Joseph he's doing his thing over there in Denver. The Vance Joseph, if you don't know, is the Denver Broncos defensive coordinator. Actually was their head coach at one point, I think. Second stint in Denver, and he's always been a respected defensive coordinator. Shut down the Jets offense, and somehow, some way, Bo Nix wins a game in the NFL where he had, I believe, negative passing yards in the first half, and finished with 60 passing yards and a total of 200 offensive yards, and they win the ball game 10-9. What a weird game. Aaron Rodgers threw the ball 42 times for 225 yards, but sacked 5 times, 31 QBR. Strange. Very strange game. But they got the dub. So that's around the league. I think the NFC East games were the interesting ones because the Cowboys are obviously vying to win the NFC East, and it's kind of flipped upside down on its head right now. The Giants are where they're supposed to be. No doubt about it. I did not expect the Washington football people after 4 weeks to have the most efficient offense in NFL history. I think the second most efficient offense in NFL history. No, I didn't expect that. But shouts out to Jaden Daniels. Shouts out to Cliff Kingsbury. It is looking so far so good over there. So far so good. But what about the Cowboys? Well, like I said, not great, Bob. So we got the official reports for the most part on Friday, and we're looking at these timelines. First of all, Micah Parsons dealing with the high ankle sprain. 2 to 4 weeks is the designated timeline, but Stephen Jones went on the radio and said, I think Micah's week to week. Every player is different in how their body responds. We haven't ruled him out this week for that matter. We'll just see how things go. Micah's not playing this week. But that's just Stephen Jones being Stephen Jones, trying to probably play some gamesmanship, but Mike is not going to play this week. I think it feels more like to me he's out till after the bye. That makes the most sense. We are talking about a high ankle sprain here. We're not talking about a mild ankle sprain. So you give him essentially what will feel like 3 weeks, right? Because you have the mini bye, Steelers game, I believe Detroit, right? Bye week, and then you get the Niners. So I'd likely keep Micah out the next 2 weeks, give that ankle as much time to heal, and then post-bye week is likely where I would bring Micah Parsons back. Now, Demarcus Lawrence, totally different situation there. He's dealing with a Liz Frank situation where I believe he's had foot issues his entire career. I want to say he broke his foot right away as a rookie, missed a whole lot his rookie season. He's expected to be put on IR. That likely will drop today, if not today, tomorrow. 4 to 8 weeks. I was told 6 to 8 prior to the report coming out, but 4 to 8, I believe, is what Todd Archer had wrote on ESPN. So you could be without D-Law for a month and a half or so. Which leads us to who is currently on the roster. It never was a great defensive end room in general, right? Like I thought the depth in general was always suspect, even with Sam Williams, in my opinion. I always felt like you need to add a little bit more because you just did. But then you lost Sam Williams, and that hurt. Now you lost Sam Williams, Micah Parsons, Demarcus Lawrence. There really is no getting around this. Nobody can sugarcoat this for me. Your defensive end room is likely one of the worst in the National Football League now. And that's no knock on a guy like Marshawn Nealon, Chauncey Golston, who we like these guys, right? Like Nealon's a rookie. Golston is more of came in as a run guy, better pass rusher on the interior than I think he is on the exterior as a defensive end. But we're talking about two guys who, since week 1, really haven't pressured the quarterback on a consistent basis. Now, again, I'm not sitting here and going to rag on these guys. I don't believe these guys are those type of dudes anyway. I never believed Nealon was a juice rusher like that, and Golston never really was either at defensive end. But they're going to be the next two up to step up and be starters. Golston and Marshawn Nealon are likely your starters. They combined for, I believe, like 4 pressures since week 1, though. You know what I mean? That's with D-Law and Micah Parsons on the field. So these guys are going to have to ramp it up. That's just a matter of a fact. They're going to have to ramp it up. And then Carl Lawson. Carl Lawson played something like 9 snaps maybe in this last game, or maybe it was a couple weeks ago. But Carl Lawson played more snaps in this game than he did in the Ravens game, which was his second call-up. He had a couple pressures. Okay, it was 19 pass rush opportunities, not 9. I knew the number was messed up there. He had 19 pass rush opportunities and had a couple pressures. Lawson is going to be the closest thing you get to juice. And I say that reluctantly because I don't think he's a juice rusher like he used to be. But that's the closest thing you're going to get. He kind of comes off that line of scrimmage with some pop. He uses his hand techniques probably more than the other two. Nealon obviously is a rookie, and Chauncey is actually getting better in it from what I saw at camp. And you see him, at least on the interior, you saw him use that in week 1 where he generated a nice pass rush. But I think Lawson, they're going to count on him to kind of take that next step to be your guy. But I don't think Carl Lawson can be the end-all, be-all. And then Tyrus Wheat, I mean, I don't really got much. I never viewed him as that good of a pass rusher in general, but he is on the team. He can do some linebacker things, but this is who you have in that room right now. Marshawn, Nealon, Golston, Lawson, and Wheat. That clearly is not enough. I don't even think it's remotely close to being enough. So they're going to have to go out there and likely look at making a move. Half jokingly, on Friday, I did the hot take about Hassan Reddick. Again, I was serious about picking up the phone, but of course, y'all, I know they're not doing that. And reports came out that, yeah, they're not doing that. It's Jeremy Fowler said money-wise or compensation, whichever it was, they're just not going to do that. So we can go ahead and rule that out, right? Just not even bring it up. Waste of time. So let's take a look at actual guys that are available for the Cowboys to take a look at here. Tyus Bowser pops up immediately for me because they brought him in for a workout, so they at least got a chance to see him personally, talk to him, work him out. He did get signed to the Seahawks practice squad and has played, I believe, in 1 or 2 games. I just watched his last game, so I can't remember if he played multiple. I just watched just to get a sense and see what he did. But he is on the practice squad. So while he's not a free agent, you can sign him off the practice squad, but he would have to be on the roster for 3 games, which this shouldn't be a problem because you're going to put Demarcus Lawrence on IR. So a roster spot will open up. Shaq Lawson is probably the most popular name that is out there. He has not been on the field for any team. He's been a free agent since the offseason, and workout videos and things like that have been going around. But Shaq is no stranger to being a mercenary. So, Shaq Lawson makes sense as well. Justin Houston is another mercenary type of guy, old veteran, 36, 37 years old, just every year just seems to find his way on a roster. But I wouldn't expect Justin Houston to really provide too much, but he's another body that knows how to rush the passer. He's a veteran in that room full of young guys that could help teach those young guys, but he's an available defensive end. But the best guy I think on this list for what you actually need, some juice, some proven juice, is Yannick Ngakoue, who was just signed to the Ravens practice squad last week. But again, we're talking practice squad. So you can go to Yannick Ngakoue and say, hey, do you want to stay on the practice squad, or do you want to come get more than practice squad money and play, right? Like, you're going to play, hell, if not start at some point and get a whole lot of tick. Hard to take him away from a team like Baltimore, where he's played before, and the Ravens are a better team and likely going to be an AFC championship type of team, right? Again, so I don't know. I think that'll be tougher to snag Yannick Ngakoue away. But again, we're talking about actually playing and likely getting paid a little bit more. The Cowboys are sitting north of $25 million. So, money's not an issue. And obviously, you're not going to cost you a whole lot. But if you're talking about the difference between 5.2 million, if that is what the vet minimum is for him, and say, hey, we'll give you 2.5 up to 2.5 with incentives, right? Like, hey, 1.5 for the vet minimum, but if you reach 7 sacks, playoff appearance, you can get an extra $1 million. Like, yeah, I think he'd be down for that. At the end of the day, he's a mercenary. He's a hired gun. So I would pick up the phone for Yannick Ngakoue first. Shaq Lawson and Tyus Bowser after that. Lawson just isn't. If you sign Lawson, he's not playing this week. He's like, maybe he'll play next week, but he's going to have to get ramped up. Where Ngakoue, at least he's got a couple weeks, or at least a week, I should say, already on a practice squad practicing. So maybe you could sneak him into the Steelers game. Maybe you could sneak him into the following game. But I would go Ngakoue first, Bowser, Lawson, Bowser, Houston. Cowboys Nation, any of these available guys, who's your guy? Or is there another player that's out there available that's on your mind? Now, mind you, I didn't bring up any other Hassan Reddick type situations where we're talking about a legitimate pass rusher that's on the trade block. I'm not aware of any more Hassan Reddick types. Maybe you are. Let me know. TC said, which ones are run stoppers? I'm not really looking for run stoppers. I'm not really looking for that. At the end of the day, those guys are going to be responsible 9 times out of 10 to just set the edge, allow the linebackers and just do your job in that sense. I'm looking for some actual pass rushers. The Cowboys have a pass rush issue as well as the run game, but the run game last week has some momentum. The pass rush has not gained any momentum since week 1. So I'm looking for some juice. I know this sounds crazy, but I'm not really concerned about if any of these guys can stop the run, because stopping the run to me is going to be more about Zimmer's scheme, the interior defense, the defensive linemen, the linebackers, and then your guys obviously setting the edge, just doing their job. They're not really asking these defensive ends to be playmakers in the run game. They're asking these guys to just do their job, if that makes sense. Let's see here. 608004 said, I'll take Tyus or Yannick. CFT, shouts out to Rome. He said our pass rush been terrible. Yep. That's why I'm not sweating it, Rome. I'm not really sweating the whole run thing. We need guys that can get after the pass rusher right now. We already were struggling with Micah and D-Law, right? And if it wasn't Micah, I gave you guys the numbers last week. Micah's the only player on the team that has multiple games of 3 pressures or more. And he still only has like a sack and a half or something like that. So we're not getting home. We're not really pressuring the quarterback outside of week 1. I think only D-Law is the other player that has at least 2 games with 2 or more pressures. So it's just not good right now. It's not good with Micah and D-Law. Can you imagine what it's going to be without Micah and D-Law? You need help. You need help. Aaron says you need to sign 2. Possibly, yeah. Even if Micah returns sooner rather than later, you still might need that extra depth. Reek said it doesn't make sense. So here's the thing, Tariq. I don't think you're hearing me here. The Cowboys defensive ends are not asked to be run stopping playmakers. They're asked to do their job. They're asked to contain the edge, set the edge, allow your overhang linebacker to flow and make the play. Now, at times, you want those guys to make plays. Like Micah Parsons, he hit, who was it? Andrew Thomas. He hit Andrew Thomas with a fake outside, come inside and make a play, right? Like, hey, make a play. Kind of hero ball, but make a play. But they're not asking these guys to be run stoppers. They're asking these guys to do their job so other guys can make plays. What I'm saying is we need pass rushers. The Cowboys, you just lost your best pass rusher and your second best pass rusher. You need pass rushers. You don't need more of these guys. You got guys that can go set the edge. I can ask Marshawn Nealon, Chauncey Ghost, and Tyrus. I can ask these guys to just, hey, set the edge. I don't need that. I need guys when it's 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. Go get that damn quarterback, Tariq. So, yes, it makes a ton of sense if you hear what I'm saying and how I'm presenting it. Shout out to Lennox. He dropped 5.
Super chat.
He said, Sky, I agree with you on Ngakoue. Wrote a couple weeks ago that we should have kicked the tires on him. 100%. I think going into the season, they should have kicked the tires on him. I never understood. They went with Lawson, though. But, not mad at Lawson. Look, I think Lawson's a fine veteran. When he signed him, I was like, okay, this is summer, part of the rotation. Go get another one. You need him now, right? Like, you need these guys now. All right, before I hit the phone lines, I do want to talk about 2 other guys that I do think have to step up here. Well, 3. Three people. It's not just players that have to step up in their absence. And they're not defensive ends. They're not these guys right here. So, we already understand that these guys have to step up. They're the defense ends. Osa Odigizua, though. So Osa's supposed to be the Cowboys' defensive tackle pass rusher. And he had his best game from a pass rush standpoint against the Giants last week, statistically, even though old boy was back there camping out for most of the game. But towards the end of the game, you started to see these guys ramp up a little bit. But we need Osa to take it up. I already thought Osa's fit in this scheme was going to be interesting anyway, without having depth and help. They went out and tried to get it with Jordan Phillips. That didn't work out. And now it's right back to Osa having to be the guy, and that's just not. I just don't think that's going to be good for Osa. But it is what it is. You have to step up now, bro. No Micah, no Lawrence. You're probably our next best veteran pass rusher on the team. So he needs to take that step. And a guy who did step up last week, and this is going to be interesting because I'm not necessarily asking this guy to step up from a pass rush standpoint, but more so to just carry over what he did or what he's done the last 5 quarters. That's Mazi Smith. I kind of half-heartedly joked about this on Friday where Mazi feels like the type of player where if his confidence is low, you see it. And we've seen that on the field his first year and some change. But when his confidence is high, is he the guy that you see it too? Right? Because Mazi clearly had his best game, career game, no doubt about it. Controlled the line of scrimmage. I love what, who was it? Isaiah Stanback. And it's so crazy because when I watch, I'm like, damn, he actually did play it this way. Isaiah Stanback talked about how Mazi was playing half a man and not the full man, head up, nose up, because he's actually not that 330, 40, 50 pound guy to do that. He's strong. He's supposed to do that technically, but he's obviously lost a ton of weight. He's probably more closer to 315, 320. They said 335, and I don't really see that. But he was playing half a man and he was detaching more in this game. That's the one thing I noticed. And that's the one thing Zimmer said was the next step for Mazi Smith. Mazi has to, hey, we understand you're a powerful, strong man, but now it's time for you to start detaching yourself from these guys. You don't got to be Velcro. And he did that in this game, and he made plays and did that in fourth quarter against the Ravens. So will we see the inverse effect of Mazi Smith's mental, where mentally we know it's rough for Mazi. When he's down, he's down. We see it. He plays that way. He takes plays off. It's like, hey, Mazi, I saw 2 good plays, but then I saw 12 plays where you just stop. Not in this game. This game, Mazi was going and going and going. And if we can get that, and you heard him talk after the game, he was very confident. He was sure of himself. If we can get that Mazi week in, week out, that'll obviously help these guys. So I want to see Osa take the next step. I just want to see Mazi continue. Look, man, baby steps from Mazi Smith. Just Mazi continue to build on what he did last week. But this guy might be the most important guy that has to figure out how to deal with this end game situation. And it's Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer, and Shaq is in the Vikings fan. He's in here. If he remembers this, Zim dealt with the situation like this some years ago, the end of his Minnesota Vikings tenure. He lost his Daniil Hunter. I think Everson Griffin wasn't on the team, or he was out or something, and he was playing with a bunch of backups. I think he even lost Eric Kendricks during that time. I can't remember, but I remember the Bucs game, watching that, and the way he made up for that was how he utilized his guys, right? More exotic looks, more blitzing of the linebackers. And I think that's something that the Cowboys have to increase moving forward. They have not blitzed their guys as much this year. Now, granted, a couple of these games, you're talking about teams just like, we ain't gonna run the ball or throw the ball, and run the ball. But so far, right now, Eric Kendricks leads the team with 8 blitzes. Leah fouled 4, Overshown 3, and Damone Clark was blitzed 1 time. To put that in perspective, Nick Bolton and Azeez Al-Shire have blitzed 16 times by themselves this year. Blake Cashman and Drew Tranquil have blitzed 20 and 24 times by themselves. I'd imagine, especially this week against the Pittsburgh Steelers, where you're not going out and getting immediate help, they will utilize maybe a Leah Fowl, maybe a DeMarvion Overshown, more as a blitzer. And given that just kind of a macro view of what the Steelers are, Arthur Smith, they're going to run the ball a lot, right? They're coming in heavy personnel. So you're going to have probably 3 linebackers out there. So I would definitely utilize one of them as a heavy blitzer in this game, whether it's a run blitz, whether it's a pass blitz, whatever. But I do feel like they have to increase this without Micah and D-Law. You're going to have to manufacture pressure, period. You had to do it in general with those guys, but without those guys, I don't think you can solely rely on Golston and Lawson and Nealon. Just say, hey guys, as you go out there and you get 5 to 10 pressures a game in 1 or 2 sacks, I don't think they're built that way. So help them out. Stunts, simulated pressures, overloads, a whole lot of Overshown, Kendricks, Leah Fowl, blitzing. Be aggressive. I feel like you're going to have to be aggressive moving forward without these two. So those are some of the options out there. If you guys know of any more options, you can obviously drop them in the chat. But the Cowboys are likely going to be looking inward for week 5 against the Steelers, and we'll see what happens moving forward. All right, let's hit the phone lines. Let's talk to OG B. Berg. What's up, man? Good morning.
Hey, how you doing this morning? Good morning, Scott.
I'm doing fantastic. Any time the Eagles lose that way and the Cowboys ain't playing, I feel good,
Yeah, it's a win-win, actually. I actually watched the Red Zone yesterday, just kick back, no stress. So I definitely understand what you're talking about. So I want to comment that about a pass rush. It's been lacking all year. I just noticed that Daniel Jones has never had that much time.
Not against the Cowboys.
You see how he kind of, not against the Cowboys. That's what I meant to say. Like, we always put pressure on them. So it's been lacking all year. And I think one of the things you say you talked about it Friday, I guess I didn't get to hear it. But to be honest with you, Hassan Reddick is the answer. That they will come out and, make a statement that, they're not going in that direction. It's kind of disappointing, but it's kind of on par. But the thing is, I like to say that, like people would say, B-Bird, now they're not going to do it, so why even ask? No, I still think you got to hold them accountable and say, no, why aren't you not looking at this? Because that's the answer. Because I think what ends up happening is, say you do get him, and then you get Micah back and you get D-Law back. Now you actually have a pass rush. I think we're kind of missing it because all we have is Micah to get after the quarterback, and we kind of missed a little bit of Fowler and Armstrong, from last year. So I think that if you got him, then just think about how you would be in a stretch run now that you have Hassan Reddick on one side and Michael Parsons on the other, and D-Law in there too. So I think that would be real good. But I think the answer, you said it the other day, and I think that they should actually look into it, but that they're now is a little bit disappointing.
No, I agree. I think that is the easy answer, the low-hanging fruit answer. And some people I noticed push back saying, oh, well, he's been sitting on the couch since yada, yada, yada. Some people know how to just get up, roll out off the bed, and be a pass rusher. I don't doubt that Hassan Reddick can get ramped up after a week or two and go out and rush the damn passer. That's something that I don't have any issues with that happening. David Irving was like that. Remember, David Irving would be suspended or be, signed back to the team or whatever, and then roll out the bed and just dominate as a pass rusher. I think Hassan could do that. I'm not frustrated because I see what you're saying, B. Bird. I should be, right? Yeah. Maybe I'm just numb to this, or I expected it.
Conditioned.
Yeah, conditioned. Yeah, I'm conditioned. So when I brought it up, I was half-heartedly joking because I'm like, I know they're not going to do it, but they should, B. Bird. Like, they absolutely should pick up the phone and say, I got a 2026 conditional fourth that can turn into a conditional third if he XYZ. What's up? And people are going to bring up monies and all this other stuff. Like I said, the whole point of me bringing that up was for the salesman Jerry Jones to sell Hassan Reddick to the Cowboys and possibly a future beyond then. Because it's not like you didn't need a pass rusher in general, and it's not like you didn't need a pass rusher beyond Michael Parsons in 2024. You still need one. Keep it. You're still going to need one because D-Law's not going to be here next year, and he's not even really like that as a pass rusher anyway anymore.
So my next thing would be I kind of hated when Daniel Snyder was made to sell the team from a football aspect. I knew as long as he was there that we was going to be good. So I'll tell you this: Washington got a new owner, a new GM, a new head coach, and a new QB, and they've got the toxicity out of there. And it starts with the owner. I always thought that we've had in the NFC we have two toxic front offices. One of them is Washington over the last, let's say, 19 years, and the other one is Dallas. So over that same time span, there's only two teams that have not made the NFC Championship game: Washington and Dallas. It's not a coincidence that
so
stuff travels down. And so I really liked when he was there. When he was gone, I was like, damn, they might get an actual front office that operates like a normal NFL team. If they do that, then probably good things are going to happen. I don't know how it's going to end, but so far they started good. And this is my last thing would be, the people that trashed Dan Quinn when he was here about him sabotaging the last game and
I never believed the sabotage thing. No.
Never believed the sabotage. It doesn't make sense for him to sabotage the game and then him go looking for that's the worst thing you want to look for. A head coach.
He just flat out was a bad coaching. It just is what it is. You got out coached. You probably didn't prepare well. I don't think it was purposeful. Sabotage and saying he's purposefully did it. I just think he just maybe was distracted. Maybe that was part of it. Maybe he thought this was a good game. But either way, it was just a terrible game plan. Point blank. Period. I will get on you for that. But one thing, the sabotage thing to me always kind of weird.
So one thing I would say on that is that playing a safety at linebacker. Some people talked about that, but it's been proven that Dan Quinn wanted Wagner over LVE, and the front office kept bringing LVE back over Wagner, and we're talking about almost the same money. So that was just that's part. We was going to get a real linebacker in here, a proven linebacker, a guy that possibly a Hall of Fame linebacker, still playing good, and our front office just said no, we want LVE over him. And the last thing I'm going to say here, man, and just let you go from here. Yeah. Is the running backs. I think what's happening with the running back stock, and I thought this for the last couple of years, is that people are devaluing running backs so much that they're actually valued now. Where are you going to get a Henry's impact on the game at $8 million a year? Where are you going to get a Jones from Minnesota impact on the game for $7 million a year? You can't get that in a wide receiver. You definitely can't get that in the quarterback. You can't get it in the left tackle. You can't get it anywhere, but you can get it at running back. I think it's devalued so much. I think it's devalued so much that now is a time actually to get a running back like a Henry, like a Jones, or like a Swift, because all those guys are contributing to their team and relatively a little bit of money. Yeah.
I mean, I think the run game is value. I'm still on the sense you don't need to pay ridiculous money for a running back. I wouldn't. I would draft one and recycle it unless they're special, or if I can get, like you said, a Henry, or I don't know what Jones is making for a cheap deal, then yeah, absolutely. Okay, so yeah, if I can get him for something that's reasonable, then yes, but I'm not paying crazy money for a running back. Just not doing it if I got confidence in how I'm using my running backs, unless those guys are elite in catching the ball and running the ball, blocking all across the board. I think the run game is valuable. The running back is still where it's at, in my opinion.
But I think $8 million for $8 million for Henry and $7 million for Jones.
Yeah, that's not breaking money the bank.
When we got when we got and that's what I'm saying. The prices come down on running back, and then you actually say basically what are we paying? We're paying $3 million more than we pay for our third string quarterback. That's basically what we're doing. And
I would 100% would rather have one of them than my third string quarterback being a glorified emergency guy and what do they call him? He's playing Lamar Jackson in practice. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. Hey, you have a good show, man. I appreciate you letting me on, brother.
Oh, of course, man. Enjoy
the conference has been locked.
Rest of your day, my boy. All right, let's keep it moving. We had Mississippi Cowboy on the horn. What's good with you?
What's up with you, Still? How you been?
I'm good, man.
Yeah, so I wanted to bring up real quick about this game that they got with Dallas have against Pittsburgh. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the offense because I want to see how I think this is like a game where our tackles are going to get tested a lot again because you got a guy like T.J. Watt that we're going to go up against, and
put that on repeat.
I'm worried about it. Huh?
Put that on repeat. It's not going to let up anytime soon. When you said the tackle is going to be tested, you'll be saying that this week. You'll be saying that next week. You'll be saying that the week after. Yeah, put that on repeat.
Yeah, our tackles, they're gonna be tested. And like you said, every week. With this game, like I tell you, I'm just kind of a little worried about T.J. Watt going up against Terrence Steele. Like that's kind of like my biggest concern. I think going in this week. But I think overall, I think we have the better quarterback, for this matchup, and I think that if Dallas, beats, Pittsburgh, if they go into Pittsburgh and win, I think it's going to be because you have the better quarterback. But I think our offense against their defense kind of scares me a bit.
Yeah, I mean, Tomlin always puts together a competitive defense over there. Watt's going to be an issue. Can't wait to go see how the Colts handled it, though. I mean, the Colts put up 27. I know it was some turnovers and whatnot. T.J. Watt, I don't even know if T.J. Watt registered a sack in that game, so I want to see how they played him. But yeah, man, and I don't know that the Colts – I don't know who the Colts' right tackle is, but, yeah, I mean, when you got – a rookie who's struggling but going through growing pains, whatever you want to call it, ups and downs, and he's a rookie first time playing left tackle in his career since high school or something. Yeah, you're going to deal with that. And then you got a right tackle who I think he looked good last week. I think he had like one or two bad rushes, but I thought he looked really good against Brian Burns, who's a really damn good. He shut him out, 17 rushes over there, and he didn't get a single pressure. So that's good. He's building off of that. But at the end of the day, it's still Terrence and it's still T.J. Watt. So I'm always going to be concerned when you have an elite rusher going up against any of our edge guys. But I'm interested to see how the Colts did it.
Yeah,
they seem to handle it pretty fine.
Yeah, I do think Terrence kind of he played better last week going up against Brian Burns. So I thought that was pretty good. I think the Steelers secondary, I feel like that you can attack them because Micah Fitzpatrick don't scare me as much as Kyle Hamilton did, because I think Kyle Hamilton better than him. But I say the only thing Micah's really like something that Micah's good at is going up against that run and stuff. Like he's really good at that because he has the speed. But I really I think that Dallas can do something against their secondary because I'm not sold on Joey Porter against CD. I really think CD has an edge over him. So that's one of my takes on that.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm gonna break it all down. Probably Wednesday. I'll probably take a look at the Steelers defense first. I am more curious about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then still.
In closing, brother. In closing.
One last thing. Do you think the Cowboys should go get Ashton Jeanty from Boise State next year?
I would love to have that kid. Are you kidding me? That dude is ridiculous what he's doing right now at Boise State. I mean, yeah. I mean, if he's there for you, absolutely. Take him all day and tomorrow. Let's go.
Yeah, because I just want to know how they will, we don't know what they're gonna do in the draft, but because it's a year from now, but I mean it's next year, so. We don't know who's going to be the coach. What's the offense? There's a whole lot between now and next year, but just in general, I don't care who the coach is. Yeah, I'd love to have that kid. Yeah, it's just how will they take a running back first because they haven't done it in a couple of years, and how in this league a lot of teams don't really want to do that nowadays.
I bet you they will now. I bet you they will now.
The running back position got better. Yeah. It's gotten a lot more value, I think, in football now. And
taking a running back in the first round is not an issue. Taking a running back in the top 5 is where the conversation is legitimate to me.
Right. But yeah, one last thing.
That was the last thing, brother. I gotta get some more people, man. Appreciate the call.
My fault. Yeah. All right.
Mississippi Cowboys said he gonna get this work. Los, what's good, Los?
Good morning, Sky. Can you hear me pretty good?
I got you loud and clear.
Hey, just want to say thank you for all the hard work. Like always, man, blessings to your family, and, keep on doing your great work.
Thank you.
I'll give you my 2 cents and my 2 points, and I'm out of here, like always, Sky. My first point is, damn, your offensive scheme and your defensive scheme for these next weeks is going to be to the utmost important time ever. And if Cowboys are going to be facing a test, it's going to be now or never, because losing Parsons is one thing, but losing D-Law as well, boy, I bet Mike is having nightmares who can't play hero ball. And you're still without Blandford, I think, 2 more weeks? So they might
at least this
Mike
week
Zimmer,
for sure. But yeah, probably not till after the bye. I'd imagine Bland would be back after the bye too.
Yeah, so Mike Zimmer has to find a way to have all these boys playing together. And as far as Mike McCarthy, I told you guys since the beginning of the year, I never liked his coaching style. I never liked his whatever, but I never liked him. And for him, and it's been a huge issue this year. I mean, how many times have we had the offensive possession and not scored like a single touchdown or no points showing out of it? So they're going to have to find ways to move that ball, because if your offensive ain't moving the ball and your defense ain't getting to the quarterback, it's going to be looking real ugly. So my optics for these next weeks is going to be the scheme of Mike and Mike, because if they cannot get this shit together, boy, Sky, I think we are really gonna see what this team is truly all about. And my last cent, and this is just a rant for me.
Okay.
This is for the GM Jerry Jones. One, you had a chance to draft a running back, my guy Brandon Allen from the Jets, but yet you use a pick for Trey Lance, who will probably never see the field for the next 3 or 4 years unless something tragic or a trade happens, right?
Sure.
Next, you want to sign a running back who is like your long-lost cousin, Ezekiel Elliott, washed up and stuff. Like, hey, let me get you an NFL contract, man. Let me get you some jersey sales, put your name. I'll give you the team back on your jersey. Maybe that will turn the clock back, make you look good. But no, you sign him rather than finding your drawer change for Derrick Henry. And look how that's working out for the Ravens. And as far as GM Jerry, look at all the NFL, all the other teams in DFW, and look how they let their GMs do their fucking job and put them to success. So that if you let them do their job, fine. But you can be a Victoria's Secret model for all the cameras later on. But Jerry, you need to back off and let the Cowboys be great again. And that's all I have, Sky, because I'm tired of this shit.
All right, man. Appreciate you, Lo. The problem is, if he back off and let dudes do their job, he just basically letting his son do his job. And his son is doing the job. He's the real general manager. He's the real general manager. The whole fire Jerry the GM thing, there's some credence to it, right? Like, he'll go off the rails and just trade for a Trey Lance. He often says, hey, the buck stops with me. So, yeah, you guys can say this, talk that, but then it comes through me. I make the final decision. In reality, Stephen Jones is the general manager. He's the day-to-day guy. He's like 90% the general manager, but with Jerry probably the other 5 and Will the other 5. So there goes your 100%. So I get what you're saying. Back off and let him coach, but back off and let Stephen. Steven's doing what he wants to do. This is exactly how Steven wants to build a team. We talk about this every offseason. None of this shocks them. None of this pierces them through. They're not. This is who they are in team building. They're very comfortable with this way. Very, very comfortable. There's no, we bring it up a lot. There's no pressure to lose a job. So as long as they're competitive in the ratings, competitive in the records, playoffs, there's no need to build on top of. Just make sure we are at least getting back to where we were the previous season. And they're fine with that because they don't have any pressure to lose their job. Where I can guarantee you, if a general manager lost the way they lost in the playoffs, one or two things are happening if they're returning. all the chips is getting pushed in. That's just how you see it happen all the time with these general managers with their backs against the wall. Whether it works or not, that's not that the result really isn't the end all be all. Because you're not always going to win when you push those chips in. Bars. But are you going to make the attempt? Hey, no, this franchise doesn't. So maybe we're conditioned like a Taco B bird, numb, whatever. I'm just so used to it at this point, and it sucks. I hate being used to it. Banks, what's up, man?
Scott, what's going on, man?
Not much, brother.
Yeah, man. I missed most of the show, man. I had stuff to do. But I just want to tap in, man, as far as this week, man. You know, I'm not going to say I'm not worried about the Steelers or anything. They're still an NFL team. They still got a decent team over there. But I think we're going to perform better than what most think we are. You know, I know they started out 3-0, but I look at the opponents they had in that span. And I think we'll match up pretty decent against them. The only thing is, of course, we lost D-Law and Parsons probably won't play. So, you know, I like to see how that fares as far as our pass rush, you know. And also, you know, what's been our Achilles heel, stopping the run, you know, see how we do again this week. But also how our offensive line is going to look against that pass rush. So, you know, I know Terrence Steele, you know, he played pretty decent this week. We know how Guyton was. So, man, with all these opponents, with all the opponents we got, and you know the former opponents who they got on the D lines coming up, you know it's gonna be a task, man. I feel like the offensive line has no other choice but to get better. You know what I mean? So
yeah, baptism by fire. Yeah. Baptism by fire. You know, my only drawback to, I don't know when it's going to all click, is I just don't believe Mike Solari is going to get these guys to click consistently. I don't believe in him. I believe in these players. Yeah. I believe in you know, BB and Guyton to continue to get better. They'll get better just on their own, whether they're losing reps or not. That's just, it's going to happen that way. I believe in Tyler. I believe in Terrence being able to play within the line structure. Obviously, Zach may not be the Zach of old, but I feel like these guys can play as one, right, as opposed to five. But I don't believe in Coach Solari, and I don't believe in anything they do schematically up front. So I'm just hoping these guys really on their sheer will and ability to, as the season progresses, they get better individually. They improve by the time we get to week 13, 14 on their own, because I don't believe in Mike Solari whatsoever.
That's fast. Yeah. I know this might seem unreal. I think the run game is going to look better this week. I don't know why. I just got that feeling. I think it's going to look better. I know it's had its issues, but I just got that feeling this is going to be the week it kind of opened up, man. I mean, we needed to. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
I hope so. I mean, I can't speak on the Steelers just quite yet confidently because I have not studied them just yet. I'll get to that starting tomorrow. But just off the rip, they seem to be a pretty good run defense.
They're tough.
I'm just looking at them just from statistically. I haven't watched film, but yeah, they look they're number 3 in the league in yards per attempt. So I mean, I don't know if you want to get too stubborn. Let me see here.
Yeah. 4th
in yards, 1st in touchdowns allowed. Yeah. This looks like it's going to be another tough one up front. But again, for me, my standards have lowered for the run game. Actually, no, it hasn't. I'm going to stick to what I've been saying all offseason. I don't need the run game to be amazing. I just need it to be efficient to the point where the opposing team can say, okay, they're in this favorable down the distance. They could legitimately run the ball. That's all I need.
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
Hey, man, appreciate the call, Banks.
Yeah. All right, Scott.
Salute. Let's get to Twan. Yes, that Twan, y'all. What's good, bro?
Scott, what's good, baby? I hope everything is good. Cowboys fans, like my man just said, don't be so down right now. Now's not the time to be down. Like I said, Scott, what I wrote you on Twitter, I feel like the Cowboys are going to run. But what I will say,
pause.
like Lo said,
timeout. right there. Time out.
Go ahead.
What changed from 2 weeks ago when?
No, because I know at the end of the day when I wrote you when we beat
No. Not when you wrote me. Not when you wrote me. When you was out on the team a couple weeks ago. What changed? Just curious.
No. I'm not in, but I'm not down to the point where I know for a fact we're not going to go on a run because we have 4-88, and this is what I'm about to say.
All right.
Like Lo said, these next couple weeks, Zimmer has to scheme some shit up.
Yeah.
Like a mother. I never believed in Zimmer because I felt like Zimmer was just too old and he was outdated. And everybody always said, like, oh, Zimmer's top 10 defense. He's going to bring discipline to this. It's like, all right, we'll see. Like, we'll just have to see. But our tackles really going to have to pick it up. Honestly, I feel like we're going to beat Pittsburgh, and we're going to beat them by, I say 10. I feel like for some reason, Dak knows it's a lot of pressure on him now. CeeDee Lamb knows it's a lot of pressure on these next because we don't have a defense, Sky. No, listen, Sky, the defense is gonna fuck us over. So Dak is in a position where now I gotta go into games thinking I gotta put up 30.
Bro, he knew that.
We have no running game.
He knew that 2 weeks ago.
Pushing now, so now it's like, all right, we have to turn it up and we have to start out fast.
Okay.
We never started out fast. The last prior 2 weeks, yes or no?
2 weeks ago, he literally said we knew going into this game we were going to have to score 30. He basically told you he ain't believing that damn defense over there. So yeah.
Well, I apologize because I didn't see that. Well, I'll take the loss for that.
But in general, bro, like, come on now. Dak and CD just got the bag. They understand how this team is, the makeup of this team is. The pressure's always been on those guys. But I hear you. Defense lost their two of their better players. And yeah, so pressure is on for the offense to, I guess, pick up the slack. Go ahead, though.
And Mike McCarthy's going to have to really scheme up some shit. I think they should also. What else do we have to lose? And I'm not being funny. Activate Dalvin Cook. It is what it is. And to the bye, when you look for a receiver, I think we should probably go after DeAndre Hopkins, probably for a 5th-round pick. Try to get Amari Cooper, somebody like that, because this is nothing but offense these next couple of weeks.
I mean, yeah, I'd love to have D-Hop here. I don't know what. Let's just go. I just want to see something real quick. I don't know what his monies is looking like, but and is he still hampered? Is he still injured? I know he was dealing with an injury.
Oh, I don't even know he was injured.
Yeah, I mean, he had a bad injury coming in. Let's see. Oh, man. Let me see here. Base salary, cap hit. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna make that type of move, but sure, it'd be fun to have a Hopkins, or who'd you say? Who was the other guy? Oh, Coop.
Hopkins.
And Coop dropped that ball yesterday. Oof.
And that's what it took. But no, Cowboys fans, keep your heads up. Like I said, I'm out the card. But keep your heads up because I still think we'll win 11 games. It's all about how we perform in the playoffs. We will get to the playoffs. I really don't believe in the Redskins or the Washington football team. I'm sorry. Just keep your head up because the Eagles don't look good at all. Peace.
All right, Twan. Appreciate it. Boy, this squad has just messed with our psyche. Twan is a very interesting character, man. Y'all know who Twan is, man. He called in earlier this offseason and said, F the Cowboys, rooting against them. Called in week 1. I'm back on the bandwagon. And called in week 2. F the Cowboys. They ain't. And now it's relax, Cowboy fan. This team got us going crazy. They got us going crazy, man. We need to go on a nice little run. I tell you this though. Steelers, Lions, Niners. All those teams are beatable. But for the Cowboys, if they can get out this thing on a 3, which would be 4-game winning streak, I don't care how, by the way, because they're at this dire straits. I really care about more how towards the end, but it is what it is. they can go on a 4-game winning streak. I mean, maybe since when Dak went down, right? Because when Dak went down and you went 5-1 with Cooper Rush, it felt like, oh, buddy, when Dak comes back and this and that, XYZ, we'll be good to go. It's been kind of since then where you're like, hey, man, this thing feels complete. Maybe everything gets together. The offense picks it up. The defense gets consistent. You're getting players back. You're going to get Bland back. D-Law will eventually come back. Micah will be back, right? So you will improve from a personnel standpoint between now and then. Just got to put it on the field. All right, Rick. Last call of the morning. What's up, man?
Yeah, what's going on, Sky? What's going on, Cowboy Nation? How you doing?
All right, bro. What's up with you?
I'm cool, man. I'm just tired of the basic stuff, man. It's like every time I'm watching our team, we just look so basic, man. It's like it's unreal, and they've been doing this same stuff for years. You know what I mean? Even though we've been making it to the playoffs and all that, and it's, you know, I respect that. But other than that, it's like every time we get there, it's like it's the same old song. We might win the playoff game, but the next game we getting smashed. And like, I don't know if people understand this or not. Like, yo, man, we 0-3 at the house, at the crib. We've been getting embarrassed at the crib, and the team is not doing anything to stop the bleeding. And, you know, and then it's like you're just going to come straight out and say, oh, we're not going to even think about getting Hassan Reddick. Why not? You need much help as you can get on this team, offense and defensively. You know what I mean? But we the only team that thinks like this. But why you got other teams like Super Bowl teams like the Kansas City Chiefs, when they get certain people down there, they know they're going to be gone for a minute, they pick up the phone. They ain't playing. They looking to keep this thing, keep that train going because they know what they got over there. But the Jones is playing our face. You sign our quarterback mad late. You sign the wide receiver late. And you know dang on well, if you'd have signed the quarterback earlier when the free agency was going on, we could have got some pieces maybe for the cheap. Or you could have, you know what I mean? Or you could have talked people down on some of these contracts and got some pieces over here that help us make this run. So it's like, that's my problem with our team, man. We too mediocre, man, but we expect great things from being mediocre. But the other teams that's in the mix, they at least they try to make moves. You know what I mean? We don't even try to make moves, man.
Oh no, we gonna make it. I think they're gonna make a move. They have no choice. Damn, Mutombo did die.
Who?
Damn, Dikembe Mutombo.
What about who?
Dikembe passed away, man. That's sad.
Oh man, sorry to hear that, man. I liked the Dikembe, man. He's a bad man back in the day, man. Dang. But you know, rest in peace to him and his family. You mean rest in peace to him and blessings to him and his family, man. Dang. Sorry to hear that this morning.
Yeah, my bad, Rick. I just saw that in the chat. I was just gonna look.
Yeah, I'm gonna look. Yeah, I'm gonna go look that up myself when I get off the phone, man. But it's like, yeah, man, with the Joneses, man, it's like, bruh, you got to spend money on these players to have good talent on your team. We can't just keep depending on our draft picks and not trying to rebuild or recycle this team. And then it's like we keep old stars on our team for too damn long. You know what I mean? It's like,
rinse and repeat, Rick. You know, I hate it because like during the season we're often having off-season conversations, right? Because usually in the off-season you build your team to get to where it's at. But we're here now. This is where we're at. So now I'm looking at what can they do to improve, and I do think they're going to sign somebody because they have to. But maybe that, what you and me and a lot of other people's frustration is, maybe this should have been done, right? Maybe you should have went and got a dog or a dude prior to this, because we're always reactionary team as opposed to being proactive, et cetera, et cetera. But
because it almost reminds you of the Amari Cooper thing. When we first got him, we was 2-5 before they picked up a phone.
Yeah.
And look what we had to spend to get him, and look what they gave him away for because they had a problem with him. this team is so so up and down, man. It's ridiculous. But it is what it is. We got to deal with it. So I'm cool, man. Let's go, man. Let's do our thing, man. I'm gonna holler at you in a minute, Sky.
Yes, sir. Salute. Appreciate you. As he was talking, I saw somebody in the chat mention trading Cooks to the Chiefs, right? Because obviously the Chiefs need a receiver. We're not utilizing Cooks the right way. I think Cooks would eat in Kansas City. And it was like trading for one of the defensive linemen. So I'm like, hey, you know what? Not a terrible idea, although we need receivers, though. So getting rid of them will be interesting. So I went and looked. There's really not anybody on their D-line outside of maybe Mike Pennell that's realistically available that makes sense, right? Like Chris Jones is not happening. I think Mike Pennell is one of the most underrated defensive tackles against the run in general, and he would fit with what we want to do. But is it worth trading Cooks, who you don't got weapons in general? And yeah, he's not doing anything right now, but I don't blame Cooks for that at all. You go back and you watch. I don't think he's being utilized correctly at all. But not a terrible idea. I don't know who it was that brought it up. Not a terrible idea in using Cooks as trade bait, but maybe for another receiver or something. Not necessarily a D lineman, unless somehow, some way the Cowboys wake up schematically on offense and they're using Turpin in that manner. They're using Flournoy gets called up. Well, again, y'all know how I feel. I don't think he's a savior, but more as just kind of a fan. You're like, yeah, I would love to see what Flournoy got. I don't think he's going to save your offensive scheme anyway. But taking away one of your wide receivers and not replacing it would seem not good. But I'll give you it, though. I will give you it. That is not a terrible idea. If I can get Pennell and maybe a young receiver back, but let me see what they got. They need receivers. So Sky Moore, maybe Juju Smith-Schuster, but are they going to do that, right? Like, that's the thing. I don't know if they're going to do that. I love the idea, though, of using somebody as trade bait. I just don't know if the receiver position is the one, though. Damn, Mutombo. He's only 58. I always thought Mutombo was 58 when he was playing. Rest in peace to one of the greatest defenders of all time in NBA, man. No, not today. All right, let's see. I think I read the supers, but let's go ahead. Refresh it one time for the one time. I think we're good, though. Oh, Dwayne dropped one. DB dropped. Oh, actually, I love this one, too. This was a good question.
Super chat.
DB dropped 5 and said, if you can get an OC mid-season, who would you get? Now, look, I understand installing offenses is something you do in the offseason, but just for the sake of this question here, we're going to pretend you can get an OC, drop them in here, and you can run their offense, no problem. Are we talking about just OCs, right? Like, I know how I feel about Slowick. Big fan of Bobby Slowick. 100%. Ben Johnson. Those are two, like, obvious ones. Drew Petzing. I know it did not have a great game in against the Washington football people, but he whooped us when he had Dan Quinn over there in Arizona. But Drew Petzing's another one. Shane Waldron of last year. I've not watched what the Bears have done all year from a schematic standpoint, but I like where Shane Waldron comes from. He comes from the McVay tree. This dude in Tampa, I was watching the Bucs game yesterday. Liam Cohen, who was also on Sean McVay's staff. I'm watching Liam Cohen dial it up in that first 15. And I'm like, man, he's a guy. I'm a big fan of Joe Brady. Their offense got stopped last night. Big fan of what Joe Brady does. There's a lot. It's not going to take much. Obviously, Kubiak, right? It's not going to take much for me to move on from a Mike McCarthy offense. But there's a lot. So, Petzing, Kubiak, Cohen, Ben Johnson. Hell, who's on Kevin O'Connell's staff? Go get me the pass game coordinator and Kevin O'Connell's that, right? Like, yeah, man. There's a whole lot, brother. Whole lot. All right, man. Good stuff today. We'll be back tomorrow. Again, tomorrow's show, we're going to focus internally again. I want to see how some of these young bucks are progressing. We'll look at some progress reports. We'll talk to you guys about it. And then Wednesday, we will start turning the page and focus solely on this matchup with the Steelers. Can't wait to dive into the film with them and break it all down with you guys, Cowboys Nation. On your way out, though, please hit that like button if you enjoyed the show today. Subscribe if you jumped in here and you like what you see. And then share it, of course, if you got Cowboys friends out there who are not hip to what we're doing here, where we kind of really break down the real and not the low-hanging fruit on the networks. No disrespect to those guys, but yeah. With that said, let's go hit this button and get up out of here.
Push the goddamn button. Push the goddamn button.
No, thank you, Miss Jack. Lane Kiffin? I haven't watched Lane Kiffin. I don't know. I don't know about Lane Kiffin. The Shanahan tree, what have they won? I mean, Sean McVay won the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? They've been to 4 in the last 6 years. I'll take it easily. Peace. Get up out of here. Hell, McVay won the Super Bowl. Shanahan's been to 2 Super Bowls. Should have won last year, in my opinion. Wasn't the offense for him. Another McVay disciple went to Super Bowl. Callahan, or is it Callahan? Or Zach Taylor? Oh, they've had some success, man. Naive to just gloss over the success of the Shanahan tree. Better than anything goddamn Mike McCarthy been doing the last 10 goddamn years.